We have with us today author Alexis Acker-Halbur reading from The Bear. Welcome, Alexis.
Thank you, Nadia. I'm glad to be here.
Please get started.
Thank you. I'm going to start from chapter 1, and it starts with a quotation. There is no chance, no destiny, no fate that can hinder the firm resolve of a determined soul. My wiper blades could not control the cascade of ice and snow falling on the windshield. The wiper's rapid attempts to clear the snow synced in rhythm with my thoughts. I have no hope, no escape, no relief. My tires slip and slide through the blizzard like a drunk swaying from a bar. The drifting and brutal winds sent white waves of snow across the 4-lane highway. I needed to be cautious and watchful. This is no weather to end up in the ditch. Determination was my co-pilot, occupying the rider's seat, nudging me onward. I had left extra early before there was any chance the state patrol would close the highway. Woman against winter, I was in an extreme laugh-cry mood. Part of my mind kept wandering into the recesses of my memory. 2 words kept popping up. Why me? I glanced down at my white knuckles, clutching the steering wheel. Returning my gaze to the road, I had one more exit until, by luck and determined insanity, I spotted my exit. I knew the campground was the 3rd right turn on County Road 23. The welcome sign to Banning State Park was not visible in the storm, but I knew by instinct where and when to turn. There was the entrance sign stating closed for camping. When I arrived at the park office, I thanked my car for delivering me to my destination unscathed. The sign in the window said, "No camping." "No shit, Sherlock," I said out loud to the sign. "Here it is, the middle of February, and a blizzard is in full force. No sane person would venture out to a closed state park in a winter storm, except for a fool like me." After a short and frigid hike, I arrived at the 14-foot cliff overlooking the Kettle River. I adjusted my backpack on my hips and clutched my walking stick. I came to Banning in the middle of a cold and snowy blizzard with one purpose: escape my demons by ending my life. The barrenness of the park matched the emptiness inside me. Removing my backpack and placing it on the snow, I withdrew the gun I had purchased last week. The cold from the gray metal seeped through my mittens. I could hear water rushing along the open rapids about a half-mile down from where I stood. A sudden realization occurred to me. It would be late spring before anyone discovered my body. That is, if someone actually found me. Being trapped at the bottom of the rapids could keep my body down for several months. If I fell backward and landed on the cold, heartless river's ice and rocks, my spine would break into fragments and my neck would snap as the bullet pierced my brain. After struggling to remove my mittens, I finally placed the gun in my mouth. I aimed the barrel toward my brain when a sudden swirling cyclone of snow came barreling at me. A big black object in the snow's center rushed toward me like a tsunami as I tried to yank the gun out of my mouth. My lips let go as I was pummeled backward by the force. I heard the blast and felt red-hot fire on my forehead. I fought for solid ground under my boots, but I was falling over the cliff. I could feel myself in the air along with the black blur. Then there was only silence, dead silence. Chapter 2 starts with a quote from Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. The smell was horrible and unrelenting. I cracked open my eyes to see what was causing the stink. My mind took a moment to adjust to the sight. A large black bear was staring at me, its sharp teeth bared. I shut my eyes as fear paralyzed my limbs. How could I be lying on the ground with a black bear hovering over me? What happened? Where was I? The ache in my head was throbbing, and the smell was repugnant. I felt an icy breeze on the side of my head. Everything I have read about on bear attacks indicated that black bears do not attack humans. The park brochure I read last summer had warned me if a bear did attack, I needed to refrain from moving and pretend I was dead. I shut my eyes against the sight and the stink. Grrr! The bear growled as its dripping saliva hit my face. It stunk even more than the bear's breath. Grrr! It roared again. I felt the bear slide away from me. Opening my eyes, I noticed the bear retreating to the back of a living room-sized cave. Sunlight made it through the opening of the cave, giving me a chance to gather my senses. I lay very still. As my mind cleared, I remembered my suicide attempt on the overlook. Realizing the blur in the snow was this black bear, I remembered falling off the cliff. Wait. A black bear attacked me, even though I know bear attacks are rare. I must be special. Was I dead? No. I was alive and about to be dinner for this bear. I looked at the bear who was now in the distance. It had not moved closer and, in fact, seemed to stay away from me. The bear let out a low-volume string of grunts as she paced back and forth. I tried to sit up, but my muscles shook beyond my control. My head ached as I realized with shock that I could not move. My neck was the source of tremendous pain, and I took several deep breaths, hoping that it would help. 15 minutes passed before I could coordinate my legs and arms. I propped myself onto my side and then into a sitting position. The bear growled, but the sound was not one of fright or anger. I looked at the bear and saw something sticking out of its fur. My walking stick, I said aloud to the bear. I tried to shake my head, but fire raced through my neck and body. I reached up and felt my forehead. Fresh blood covered a gash on the left side of my head above my eyebrow. I winced, trying to gauge the severity of the wound. Is this the afterlife? I asked the bear. It looked at me like I was an annoyance. I was in shock. How else could I be in this situation, sitting in a cold cave with an injured bear? Either that or I was dead, although would I be able to feel pain or even think if I were dead? Grrr, I heard the bear grunt. The bear too was in a lot of pain because of the embedded stick in its shoulder hump. I tried to stand without moving my head. The pain was unbelievable, followed by wave after wave of nausea. Attempting to stand on my feet, I grabbed the wall of the cave. The cave spun around for what seemed like an eternity. The next thing I knew, I vomited it. Do people puke when they're dead? I thought after catching my breath. My breath reeked as bad as the bear's. I glanced at the bear in sympathy. My legs shook as my hands felt the cold wall. Like the bear, I was also in pain.